everybody. Christiana Witt here, host of the Soul Soothing Business Podcast, where we explore the calm, intelligent side of ambition, helping women business owners settle their minds and their nervous system, simplify their lives, systematize their business, build their support, and scale their income with integrity. And this episode is brought to you by us, Soul Soothing Company, where we set out to free women entrepreneurs from the grip of chronic stress. And we do this in 3 different ways. We help you remove the stressors that create unnecessary distress. We help you build up your resilience so moments of pressure affect you less. And we give you the tools to recover quickly when stress happens so that you have clarity, calm, and confidence. So if you're tired of being a woman entrepreneur, and Sandra will fit right in there, who has built a business that works, but it feels like that business is running you, you can visit us at soulsoothingco.com and book a quick chat or email us at hello@soulsoothingco.com. I'm excited about today. So, a little love introduction. There are places in the world where the connection between humans and animals almost feels like a quiet conversation, where trust grows naturally and movement becomes a form of communication. At Sun Ranch, Portugal, it is one of those places, shaped with care and intention by its founder, Sandra Dias Da Cunha. In partnership with her trainer, she invites guests to step into a completely different rhythm, one guided by harmony with horses and the land itself. And today we'll explore building a business that matches your values, how to communicate that with the right clients, creating a very, very unique offer, and how to bring clients back over and over. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Christiane. Very glad to be here and talk to you.
So everybody's going to probably notice 2 German accents speaking English. So I think we should probably inform them what's going on. Sandra and I actually just have known each other just for a few years, but we are born in the same town in Germany and then have gone to many English-speaking countries, gotten so comfortable with English that at the beginning of our relationship, we had to decide what language to communicate in. Do you remember the Denglish that we wrote and texted to each other?
Yeah, I think we even had a phase where we would talk about one issue in German, but another one in English,
That's right.
trying to make rules for which language to speak to each other.
And in the introduction or before this recording, we were speaking in German. So when I was reading off the introduction, I was like, okay, switch back to English. So
Back to English.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, we both spent years in the States, so we're both comfortable with English and it's fine, but our mother tongues are German, right? So,
Right. So it feels a little like as soon as there's an English speaking person among us, then it's
yeah.
no, but when it's just the 2 of us, it's a little bit like this is strange, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm excited to be with you today, here today. And I want to just tell readers, listeners, viewers, how we actually got together. It's just a really short story, and then I'll turn it over to you and how you got to have this gorgeous place in Portugal. So I decided to move back to Germany to be with my aging parents. My husband and I decided to bring 3 Mustangs, wild horses from the States to Germany. 2 of them did great. One of them got an allergy to bugs that she had no immunity towards. It was suffering 24 hours a day. It was just really horrible. And through a mutual friend, I was exploring regions in Europe that would be more similar in temperature and climate to what she was used to. And this amazing friend sent me to Sandra. And as Sandra is one of the most beautiful, kind people I know, she said yes to taking her. And so my beautiful little girl, Tali, lives in Portugal. And while it's not completely gone, the allergy. So
Yeah, that was really.
So as Tali got this, so Tali is now in Portugal and her allergy is significantly better while it's still itchy. Sandra is diligent in putting all kind of creams on and blankets on, and then when her visitors fall in love with her, they help out too, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Everyone loves her. She's such a sweet horse. You said wild horses. She's such she's so sweet and so
She's so
tame.
non-wild, right, anymore?
But I remember when that common acquaintance of ours friend called me and said, Sandra, do you want a Mustang? And I was like, yeah. Because running a Western riding establishment, I do have some American quarter horses, but I'd never actually been in the presence of a Mustang. Um, or at least I've never had one here at the ranch. So I was very excited to have her
Oh,
and
yeah.
take care of her. She's very sweet.
There are times that I really miss her. And Sandra is just really amazing because she periodically sends me pictures of guests coming to her ranch and completely falling in love with my girl. It brings the tears like they come instantly. It's like a reflex, but they're really good tears because I know that
Mm.
through some twists and turns, she's found her purpose in life.
She's really really great at this. She really helps me because one thing I work with quite frequently is people who would love to ride and really want to ride and or be with horses and have lost their confidence or don't know how to start and feel afraid. And Tali is just an amazing team member in that regard because she's really, really excellent at giving people their confidence back or giving them confidence in the first place because she's just not scary at all. She's sweet, sweet, sweet. She tries to do whatever you ask of her and making you cry again
Yeah,
this
I
time.
make me cry in my podcast.
Well, it
But
was just this recently, this girl who came and she was so scared. And, having her here for 2 weeks, it made such a difference in this girl's life. And Tali was a big part of that. And, that's part of why I do what I do and why I love what I do. And horses like Tali help me with it.
perfect. So that is a great segue into why did you buy? So we went to visit you, and I can't wait to find time for that again. And it's this amazing place outside of a little town. Like how did you get there? What is the story in terms of what made you think that this would be, this is what you wanted, this is what your soul was asking for?
Oh, it was very coincidental. I was just visiting a friend here. Oh, I often came to this piece of land because a friend of mine was living here with her horses. And sorry for the voice, it'll get there.
No problem. You just
And,
got over a cold, so all good.
well, this friend of mine, she's also a horse trainer and teacher, and and her husband lived here, and they felt it was too lonely, and so they wanted to leave. And I was so sad when they said they would leave. And so I thought, okay, one way I can hold on to this little piece of paradise is by at least buying the land. I'll lose her and her horses and the friendship in a way because she actually left the country. But at least I can hold on to this place. And I did. So I bought the land without having any clear plan of what I was going to do with it. And at the time, I was running a riding school near Lisbon. And riding school does not sound like very big business. It's not big business, but for a riding school, it was pretty big. We had, at the highest point, we taught 1,400 lessons in a month.
No, that's
So
big. That's big.
we had 4 or 5 teachers at the same time doing classes in parallel, and we were very well organized. Otherwise, you couldn't do this. But it really was what you were talking about. It felt like the business was running me. I was not having any fun at all. I got into this because I love horses and I love teaching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I ended up just solving problems, left and right, problems everywhere, and not almost having no contact with the horses. I used to come in an hour ahead of starting time in the morning just to have an hour with my horses for me, because after that, that was it. The rest of the day was just solving annoying little problems and not having any fun and not
Mm,
enjoying it. And at the same time, it felt almost like harmful to my soul, because the horses weren't living a life that I found acceptable. In
mm,
big riding schools near the city, that's almost impossible. And I didn't really know this when I got into it. I learned it through experience. But and I had neither did I enjoy my actual work, nor did I find that my horses had a good time, nor did I actually make any good money. So I thought this is really bad. I mean, you've got to have at least one of these three things, right?
yeah, yeah, well, and even the money won't. Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
coughing too.
Yeah.
You send it over from Portugal.
Sorry. So I ended up selling this riding school, but only after I had already bought this land here.
Hmm.
I had this land here, and I did end up sending half a dozen horses over here to live here in better conditions, in freedom, on big fields. But I was still running the riding school, and only when I managed to sell the riding school could I actually start with the business down here. And well, that's also the way I started. This was a bit coincidental too, because I just thought, well, it's so off in nature, away from big centers of population, that how do you get clients? I mean, how
Hmm.
do you definitely can't get those, the child that comes over every Thursday at 5 o'clock to have the right.
Right, right.
They just don't come here. They're not there. So I thought, okay, I need to import people. Plus, it was when Portugal was in a pretty bad financial crisis and no one here even had any money. So I thought, okay, importing people from other countries actually makes more sense. So I started thinking along those lines, offering it as a sort of as a holiday, but at the same time, I want to teach. I really never wanted to offer just riding holidays where people just come and
Mm-hmm,
ride around
hmm,
the
hmm.
horses and enjoy, but don't learn anything. I'm really, really passionate about teaching the things that I've managed to learn over the years. So I wanted to combine the two. I wanted to teach, but I also wanted to give people a sort of holiday experience, and that's what I do. People come for a week,
Hmm.
and it's a 5-day program where they learn with me from morning till evening. And they end up learning a lot, but they also end up having a lot of fun and really enjoying nature and just being with the horses. So it's a pretty unique approach, I think.
Yeah, it's super. So I want to go back to a couple of really big points was so a lot of our listeners, if they're women entrepreneurs, they have a business. They worked really, really hard to establish it. You didn't get to 1,000 students, what was it, a month? That's crazy,
Yeah.
without a lot of work.
Yeah.
And yet you got there, you climbed the proverbial ladder only to find out that that's not where you wanted to land.
Yeah.
So this ranch is really representing your love, your values. So if you had to you know, obviously value clarification is always something huge that we do in coaching because we often forget what our true values are. But if you had to just claim like three top values that you hold dear, what are they?
I think this is possibly not exactly the
Oh, uh-oh.
course. There's humans, horses, and not a stakeholder, but an issue.
It's like you broke up a little bit. So I heard humans, horses, and
You can just repeat. So in this business, there are three very important elements if you are in the riding school business, and that's the horses, the humans, and the money you're making or not making. And I had a business partner in my old business, and we really didn't see eye to eye on the ranking of these three items.
mm,
And to me, when I restarted here at the ranch, it was very, very clear that my ranking was going to be horses first, humans second, and money last.
Mm.
And that those are not your classical values. You know, this is not integrity or honesty or kindness, which are probably the three that I would have said. But it's just, it makes decision making so clear and so easy. Horses are first. Even if my client is upset because they don't get to ride the horse that they want to ride, if the horse is not feeling well, the horse does not go to work that day, for example. So it's always the horse's needs first. And that's just something that I couldn't do. And in the big riding school with my business partner and with all the financial pressures that we had there. And I can just live that order of priority now that I'm in the countryside with a lot better conditions for the horses. I'm also not with a business partner anymore. I have lots of people around me that support me, that help me, but the buck starts the what do you call it? The bucket starts
And
stops with me.
stops with you, right?
Yes. So I make the final decisions on everything and I know my priorities. And I must say the financial pressure is also a bit off because I'm running this less as a financial enterprise and more as a mission, a project where I want to fulfill the vision I have of how horses and humans should be together.
Okay, so oh my gosh, it's like
That
so
really
much
gave you
went through my head because, and I was coughing. But so a few things I think are because we want to make this relevant to the listener, right? It's maybe not horses, people,
yeah,
money, but
yeah,
like when as I was listening to you, I was thinking, well, to me too, it's the people in my business.
yeah,
It's the people. It's more important than the at least short-term revenue. I want to really take care of them, and not only by paying them, but by also by providing them with a safe work environment, like emotionally safe. I want them to
absolutely.
feel appreciated and loved and cared for, like work is becoming this safe oasis, even if the rest of the world is kind of hitting them hard left and right. So the rest of the world tells us that money should be the first one. After
Yeah.
all, you have a business, so blah 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 blah. And we're not saying we should be losing money. This is actually what you and I were talking about. But it seems like in modern society, it almost takes a lot of courage to say, this is
People.
the order of things as they
Yeah.
are important to me. And I like myself enough to stand up to those priorities and values.
Yeah.
Even, when the next guy does this or somebody has this amazing, gorgeous ranch and, gold-plated stables and you're just like, no, this is not who I am.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe you don't become totally rich and famous and super successful if you put humans first, but maybe you are, happy with yourself and with what you're doing. And as long as you make enough money to fill your basic needs, I just don't feel I need much. I have wonderful people around me. I have nature, I have the animals, and not just the horses. We obviously also have dogs and cats.
Right? You have everything there, and the people
What
are
do I need?
amazing.
Yeah, what do I need? Fancy clothes or or jewelry or fancy cars? I don't need any of that. I have so much that is worth so much more.
We
And
talk a lot about in our business around different currencies.
yeah,
And we tend to equate currency with the dollar or the peso or the euro or whatever, currency you live in. But you just listed a whole bunch of other currencies,
yeah,
right? And I feel this too when we have our Monday meeting and we have Africa, the Philippines, the different parts of the US, and then me in Germany, and the love is just coming through Zoom like crazy. That's a huge currency.
yeah, yeah. I love it.
You
Yeah, I
know,
love. I mean, I love the network of all my guests who have ever been here, and it's both guests that come for these 1 week courses, and it's also volunteers that come for a month at a time, because that's just a way that I can teach people that don't have the money for the 1 week
Hmm.
course. They may not have the money, but they have the time. Like students, for example, they can give me a month of their time, and they end up learning the same and experiencing the same. But what I really want to say is we keep so much in touch with these people. We keep in touch with the former volunteers, with the former clients. We have this big network of people who still reach out and get back to me once in a while. And of course, we use social media to keep in touch. But it's really, really a warm feeling of love and of a shared experience that has made this happen.
So you
That's
have
more.
your own herd, so to say,
Yes.
of humans. Like obviously in your case, the horses pop in there too. But if we take it out of the horse environment, it really feels like, yeah, same with my team, even though it's international, it feels like we're gelling more. Everybody knows more and more where they belong, how they contribute. Like you said, you have volunteers and you have guests. You have Lisette, the beautiful trainer.
Mm.
Everybody has a different role, and it
Yeah.
works as a holistic piece.
Holistic whole.
Holistic whole. So we could talk about this forever because this is just so meaningful to me.
Yeah.
But we were also going to talk about, okay, so we met through Tali and her, sweet itch eczema. But then you said, well, I've seen you, coach horse people before. I got this issue. And so tell me a little bit about this being booked out piece that came about.
Yeah, I think the issue at the time, my courses were selling pretty well. I was filling them up because I don't teach an awful lot of them. I teach maybe a dozen courses a year. So they were pretty decently booked. I don't want more than 4 or 5 people in each course because otherwise the quality of the teaching suffers. And I was managing that more or less, but it was there were two problems with it. One was that sometimes these bookings came in quite last minute, sort of,
Mm, hmm.
that I would feel, and I felt insecurity about, am I going to have to run this course with just 2 people? That's
Mm.
going to be awkward. And also, I really do need to make a little bit of money to keep this afloat. And then sometimes I think I ended up accepting people into these courses who weren't really such a great fit either,
Mm.
just out of insecurity of making sure that I would have enough. And well, talking to you about all this, it changed my view of things a lot because it felt to me like there weren't enough people out there who were interested in coming here to my courses. And I don't know, I don't remember exactly what you said, but I think you completely flipped that into making me understand that there's plenty of people who are exactly the kind of clients I want. I just need to be able to reach them and to communicate to them better.
And I,
Mhm.
I remember too that the way we also flipped it, and this is relevant to everybody, is they, I think if I remember right, correct me if that wasn't, but was people were coming occasionally, but they weren't necessarily coming back.
Yeah,
And then I said, well, what's if you become the one destination,
yeah,
the alternative to a learning how to ride culture that doesn't suit them? Because here in Germany, we talked about it. For those people who don't have horses, it's a kind of a factory way of teaching people how to ride, but there's
like I
no
used to. Like the riding school I used to run 1,400 lessons a month. That's it's a factory.
right. It's like a factory. And so we said if we position you and your ranch as an alternative and people come back regularly, so you become their place, not
Yeah,
an escape. Do you remember like we just switched
yeah,
the
yeah,
destiny, basically the importance in somebody's life, and you became the category of one. If you or your ranch, if you are an adult person wanting to learn how to ride, but not just, mechanically like abuse another horse, where would you go?
Yeah,
To Sandra's place,
exactly.
right?
And
And so what happened as soon as you switched that?
well, I switched that. You made me do this exercise of trying to define the perfect client. You called it an avatar. And I thought I had it defined, I had yeah, usually they're females between 30 and 50. And yep, that's pretty much it. And you made me define it in so much more detail, in emotional detail
Hmm.
also. And in order to do it, I had to talk to people. I talked to clients, I talked to the volunteers, and I just kept asking them, what is it about being here that makes it so special to you? Because people would say that to me once they had been here.
Hmm. Hmm.
They would say, this is amazing, I love this. But they didn't get that. They were often surprised how great it was. Like my communications didn't
Before the
match.
experience, they
Yeah.
didn't, they weren't able to visualize it in their heads how it would be once they're with you.
Yeah, so in a way, I wasn't overselling. I was kind of underselling. I was
Uh-huh.
just, you come, you learn. This is the program, and I wasn't communicating at all the emotional impact of it, and that's, I think, what really changed. I defined. I You helped me define this perfect ideal client of mine, and
Hmm.
it became more defined. It's not just, oh, anyone can learn. Yes, they can. It's true. But the really interesting, it's for people who have not learned much at all about writing, and they come here and they get a good start. So I changed the name of my course to Foundation Course, because I really believe that's what it gives. It gives people a good foundation.
Hmm.
And we then have people come back to do add-on courses, to do an adventure course, or to do just also sometimes just call it a follow-up course. And
Right.
one interesting thing that has, for example, happened since then is that a whole groups of them decide to come back. So I have a group of 4 women that have never met before. They
Yeah.
meet here at the foundation course,
Yeah.
and over these 5 days, they become so close to each other, so emotionally invested in each other, that they have decided to come back a year later with in the exact constellation, for people that had never met before. And
That
they're
is
keeping touch. We
crazy.
have a WhatsApp group for each of these groups, right? So some of these groups keep in touch and then plan their next holiday with me, and it's going to be a working holiday. They're going to be learning more again. But it's a wonderful experience for them, apparently.
Okay, make sure that that goes on your website
Yeah.
because that just really, that's just touched me because in your short story, I was completely able to imagine what must have occurred the first time around for that to actually be in place, right? You didn't even have to say, like, you're going to learn this and you're going to do this and you're going to feel this. The fact
Yeah.
that they stayed together, they hadn't met before, they stayed together and they're coming back together tells the whole story. We filled the void. So
Yeah.
this is amazing. So, um,
And it's interesting because
yeah.
I don't do any like group activities. I don't do any like icebreakers, or people who are listening
Yeah,
might
but
be
you got horses. You have an unfair advantage.
exactly. We just work with the horses. We learn how to put a halter on a horse. We learn how to make the right sounds, and the brr, or whatever we do with the horses to communicate. We learn about body language and how to, but it's all like technical things about the horses, technical but very emotional technical. And we don't do anything to bring the group closer together. It just happens. It
Okay, let's
happens. And
stay with
we
this
don't
for a
do it
second because,
explicitly.
not everybody has the miraculous tool of a horse to make that happen. But don't you think that a lot of this bonding actually happens in between that you have no idea about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it also happens because I make people feel very at home and very at
Hmm.
ease.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I have been told that people feel like they can be themselves here. from yeah
Ah,
from
ah,
and
ah, 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 ah.
they
You
feel
creating
safe.
this
Yes.
container
Yeah.
of safety and authenticity and being
Yes.
able to open up. Now
Mm.
they can open up, they open up to each other. That
Yeah.
creates the bond. Well, yeah, you don't need any experience, little party favor type
Yeah.
tricks.
Exactly.
The space and knowing what space you are in and the horses and the way you guys live and work together is people's hearts are going to open up. And when they open up, they're going to share that to each other. And that's
Yeah.
hugely bonding. So, could we do that uh, in other situations? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story that I have to really think about deeply because, like you said, you're not doing like facilitation to depth, but
Yeah.
knowing you and knowing the space, I bet they all drop into it and go,
Well, I think the horses really do help a lot, I'm sure,
Sure,
because
they do. But the
you know
space is
people,
is pretty magical too.
people and you know people kind of drop their masks when they
Right.
deal with animals, and people very, very literally drop their masks. It's interesting to me that sometimes people show up the first morning, women show up with makeup on, and then they tend to drop it. Usually, the second day it's gone, or it's just a hint, and then the third day it's gone completely. And I find that so touching that women who feel the need for makeup on the day one in this small environment, in nature, that they can let go of that. I mean, that to me, that's something.
That is so significant. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's such a small thing, but it's huge.
Yeah. Actually, I was riding out with a friend, and we have a very similar atmosphere at our facility. And I was a relatively new rider, just recently joined. And she said the one thing she loves most, she doesn't have to wash her jacket in between visits. I didn't even think of it. I have a riding jacket, like when it stands on its own because it's so muddy, I put it in the washer, But that she thought that was special that you could just be
Go with,
yourself.
yeah.
You could drop the self-consciousness, the constantly looking over your shoulder, this feeler that we all have is what is so and so gonna say, about my jacket, my looks, my age, or whatever. Absolutely. I can totally see somebody drives up to your place, it's gone. They wonder
Yeah.
why they put the makeup on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, if we extrapolate this out of your so many great lessons, Sandra, um, we all have the ability to create this this space where others can be themselves.
Yeah, I think it starts really, really starts with not judging, with us as the business leader, not judging the people around us, whether they're our coworkers or our guests, our clients, not judging them, and then maybe sometimes helping them to let go of their judgment too.
What about even judging ourselves?
Oh yeah, that would be nice too.
That's
It's
the final frontier, right?
the
Um,
final
but
frontier.
I'm pretty busy on LinkedIn, and one day I'm looking at my little profile picture, and it's like, this is not me. That's me in like a perfect moment,
Yeah,
but that's not really me. So somebody had taken these really amazing but very messy hair kind of pictures of me and my horse. So I just ended up putting it in the profile. It's
yeah,
LinkedIn. It doesn't, who cares? This is
yeah,
where I live. This is where I feel most myself. So why wouldn't I put it there? If I'm too informal for you, you're probably not my client either,
exactly.
right?
And I think that's a big deal, being honest about who you are, what you can provide. And I was kind of trying to just be everything for everyone before defining this perfect niche foundation course guests with you. And now I feel like and I know I have this little niche that I feel super comfortable in, and I can do my best in there, and suddenly there's so many clients. I mean, that's what.
But they have that 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 desire, at least, and the guts to be natural, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I just know that I put it out there. I put it on my website. I put it in my Facebook, on my Instagram communications. It's just all more from this place of, what I really am and what I'd really like to do here as a niche, as a unique thing, and not this trying to be everything for everyone. And what happens is that I attract much more clients than I used to, and not just more, but also I feel like maybe people are taking it a bit more seriously now because I get bookings half a year, even a year ahead of time, because it's obviously something that people think about and plan
Mm-hmm.
and aspire to do
Mm-hmm.
one day, instead of like, where could I go? I have a week free and, next month, and oh yeah, that ranch looks nice. That's more how it used to be. It used to be much more last minute booking and not really filling up. And now I feel more valued by the people who book.
But
And
this is exactly the shift. You
yeah,
became the center. They're
yeah,
now coming, you're the solution of one, right?
yeah,
There's no other, like, how many of those type of ranches could we even figure out? I mean, we have the same when we are here. Ours is a trekking station. I don't know what was the last time that I saw a guest come that I hadn't seen before. It's constantly repeat business and in the same way, totally casual, totally themselves, totally real. And these are the type of people that come. They don't
yeah,
have that many. Why would they choose another one?
yeah,
Right? And so then you became this one, and you made yourself a place where there were recurring, interesting offers. It wasn't just, okay, we do the foundation 10 times a year.
yeah. Well, I also still love that, because but in a way, because I feel it's partially my mission, that I really want people to have this strong foundation to learn from. And if then they decide that they want to continue and they want more, then they can come back. But it's also okay if they just have this one experience. I
Sure.
had a really fun a children's book author that came because she wanted to write a children's book about horse whispering.
Oh,
and
cool.
she decided she needed a foundation in horse whispering.
Yes.
And she found that with me. And I don't think she'll ever write again. And that's perfectly fine. She won't come back here, but she also won't write anywhere else. But
Right.
that's great. I mean, it was a great foundation for her purpose.
Yeah, no, I think, oh God, the lessons from this call. So you saying, like you're staying so close to your mission, which isn't, I'm gonna train or help people become these unbelievably high performing writers. For you,
No,
it's about get a foundational start that feels good to the horse, good to the
yeah,
human, that there's this initial spark of harmony, and then take it wherever you want with this,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you repeatedly offer this, but like those four ladies, you also offering a, it's not advanced, but like you offer something new enough that they feel they're not repeating the foundation course.
yeah. Because I mean, I've been calling it just a follow-up course.
Hmm.
It's because you don't learn, and you cannot possibly learn enough about horses in 5 days, not even in 5 years. It's a never-ending learning project. So even if people went home and found nice places to go riding at home and continue to ride, they could still come back here and go through similar lessons and learn new things. So it's there's no. I have one person. I think she's been 4 or 5 times, and she keeps bringing new friends. So we always have to do the beginning again, because she brings me new people, so we start at the beginning, And I say to her, like, but aren't you tired of this? She's like, no, no, I learn something new every time. There's always some element that I hadn't really understood yet. And because I do explain things differently every time because I want to keep it fresh for myself. So I learn to explain it better, or I pick up some piece of information somewhere and
Yeah,
integrate that.
we do that
So
Tuesday night. We learn something Wednesday morning. We teach it. It's just the way it is,
exactly. So I
right?
don't teach the same exact way anyway,
Hmm.
but she also says she learned something about herself and she learns something new every single
Mm.
time. So I don't need to make it very different, even just for people to come back and enjoy it again.
Well,
So
the
yeah.
weather is different. They
Oh yeah.
might be teamed up with the different animals. So all of this changes. But
Yeah.
also something that reminds me is a coach recently was saying something about we're building a membership we call the Soul Soothing Business Circle for Women. And he says they're going to come for the teaching and they're going to stay for the community.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably exactly the same for you. They come for the teaching and they stay for the whole experience of it.
Yeah. I think I have one that comes back for one of the dogs. She loves him so she's just so in love with this dog. That's all she wants. But yeah, I mean, we stay in touch with them also we have a closed Facebook group for the people who've been here, and I use a lot of WhatsApp groups to keep the four women that are in each course.
Ah,
I
okay.
start this WhatsApp group usually a couple months before the course to start introducing people to each other and to help with logistics. Like, what are you packing? There's just very common questions, and I think people begin already there to learn that if they have a question, they should ask it in public because all the others are going to want to know the same thing. So,
Interesting. So you're
we talk about
warming them
logistics.
up. By the time they get to you,
They
they're
already know each
already
other.
bonded.
And the
Cool.
tone has been set in a way because the tone is very much you can ask whatever you want and I will help you and I will explain it and we will support each other, right? So the
Beautiful.
tone is very much set by that. And those WhatsApp groups stay alive. People sometimes use them, but they also then sort of graduate into this bigger group of Facebook
Okay, so
members
you
of people.
have the little WhatsApp groups for the people for the actual group that comes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then once they have been there, and that gets us into the last topic that we wanted to talk about. Then you take them over to the is it a Facebook group or pay? No, it's a group, right?
It's a group because it's a private group in the sense that only people who have been invited to it can see it. It's not you can't even find it.
Right, right, right,
So
right. Like yeah, hidden group or
for
whatever
us,
that. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, if you look for us on Facebook, you'll find Sundance Ranch Portugal, which is a page which
Mhm.
everyone can look at, and I'm honestly not terribly active on it. But then there's the more interesting part that I use Facebook for more is to keep in touch with the people that have been here, and that's maybe just I don't know, a couple hundred, and we do post things like little pieces of news about the people here, about the horses here. Sometimes
Oh,
it
and they
even
all want to know because they're all bonded. And okay, so this leads us now to a dilemma that you didn't really realize you were going to create, which is you
no,
became this category of one. They all come and then they go back home to the reality that they
no,
can't have what you offer at home.
no.
And now that I talk to you, I bet you it's way more than just about the horses.
Yeah, it is. I'm
It's the
sure it is,
space,
and
it's you, it's the community, it's the
yeah,
safety, it's the ability to remove your mask, to have dirty clothes
yeah.
on, the
It's very hard.
non-judgmental
I mean,
zone.
we very, very frequently see tears when people leave, and that's extremely hard for the volunteers to leave after 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're often very sad that they're leaving. I always tell everyone that they can come back. That should ease it a little bit, I think. But they know they have to go back to their normal routines and they won't have what they found here. So the only thing we can do is kind of, keep in touch, send them a little bit of news updates once in a while. We're going to start our advent calendar a day late today. to remind them of the horses that are here and of the people that are here. And I do run these monthly webinars for people to
Yes.
just talk
Okay. So
to.
yeah, tell me about the webinar. So the webinars are kind of like a bridge, right? We we had kind of coached together and we said, okay, you become the destination. So instead
Mhm.
of them finding a barn or stable in Germany, they're just coming back to you. And so the webinars are kind of like how do you think people perceive them?
I think the people that really love them are often people that do have a horse or share a horse or something at home.
Hmm.
Um, they feel a little bit lost in their environment and they would like to do things like we do them here, but they have no support for that.
Got it.
And I think they use the webinars to kind of just touch base once a month and I pick a topic, we talk about that topic, and whatever it is, people seem to take some reassurance from that of like, yes, you can do things in a good way. You can ride and have fun with your horse, but without exploiting it, without making it feel bad. That's the kind of the point of all this. And I think people use the webinars to ground themselves in that reality and to keep in touch with that. Um, then there are many other people who just don't ride when they go home,
Hmm.
and
Right. Hmm.
I, I tell them that that's okay. I mean, it's okay. You don't have to do riding. It doesn't have to be a sport. Like it's not like going to the gym. It's not something you have to do every Thursday afternoon. It's totally okay to do it more like sailing or mountain climbing,
Hmm.
which you also
Hmm.
don't do
Hmm.
in your normal life. It's a special thing that you only do when you have the time and can go somewhere where it's really good. You know, I mean, I know they surf on this little creek in Munich, but the reality is that if you want to be a surfer, you do that on your in your holidays, and you don't do that, Thursday.
That's true. That's true. But you know what? All along I was hearing your words, but I was also feeling something really emotional underneath all of this. And that is, and it's actually making me really emotional. The fact that people cry when they leave, that the volunteers have a hard time leaving, it shows us, I think, in really dramatic ways, how disconnected we are from how our body and soul actually would want to live. Now, fair enough, there's also no work, no bills to be paid, all of that stuff, there. But let's take that apart and say you actually lived closer to the land. You lived in connection with animals. You lived with people who are real and supportive and non-judgmental and make you feel loved.
Yeah,
That's so rare in our world.
yeah.
That is just incredibly hard to leave. And that a webinar about a horse, just seeing your face,
Yeah,
is a trigger to go like, I'm okay. I'm okay. There's somebody like this out there,
yeah.
you know?
I don't. It's hard for me to understand because I don't go with them to their
Yeah, yeah,
normal.
but you are there.
Yeah,
You're
I'm here.
living the dream.
I tried to understand. I tried to talk to them and see what is wrong with their, with the lives they have and I think a lot of the time it's this thing that they don't feel that they do feel judged, that they don't feel seen and loved as they are. And I think that's just a big thing that the horses obviously offer that.
Right.
Horses either they generally just the horses just trust you. If you don't do them any harm, they trust you and they love you for who you are, however you look, however, whatever
Yeah.
you're saying,
Yeah.
whatever clothes you wear or car you drive, who cares, right?
That's the thing. And then your place is
And
also
the
in such a way, it's beautiful. We can even see your background, and I've been there. It's beautiful, but it's not stuffy. It's not made to present some image of some sort. Then the beautiful wild forest, it's still very near virgin, like how you like.
Yeah.
The body, I think, recognizes itself. It it finds itself in this much more nervous system aligned place.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. I did a we did a like 1.5 hour trail ride this morning just at walk, and it became very meditative
Sure.
because the horses kind of drifted quite far apart and it wasn't easy to talk, so we didn't talk. And I think it does something to you to just be carried by another
Mm,
being
mm.
in perfect nature where there's no cement, there's no cars, there's no other people, there's just nothing. And I think it does something to your nervous system too.
And the
Absolutely.
nervous system recognizes that. And and so that's what we teach burned out women entrepreneurs is like we can give you all the scaffolding, all the ways you can reduce stress at work, but if you do not give your nervous system a break, if you don't change your lifestyle, you simplify it, you say no more often, you
Mm-hmm.
take little meditative breaks,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
then you feel this like you feel alienated from yourself. You don't feel safe.
Mm.
And so what you do is you provide this beautiful oasis, and then of course people have a hard time thinking, okay, now I'm leaving and I'm going back to Lisbon and the airport and now it's gonna bombard me again. And how do I stay this I almost want to
Grounded.
say like this in love with myself, this okay with myself.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe that's my next venture, to work more on that, to give people more of a toolbox that they can take with them.
I'll come and teach that, and we'll do that together because that's probably the rest of my life. I'm
Yeah.
like getting more and more really understanding also the physiology. Again, through our experience with the horses, we know it's not top down, it's bottom up,
No. It
right?
is. Yes. Yes.
So,
Mm.
knowing that we share the limbic system with them, we
Yeah.
know that if we give our own body that place of rest, you know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels beautiful to the mind.
Yeah. Yep, I definitely, I mean, I of course I have it for myself too. I feel myself more or less patient with the people and the horses around me. And I think I have incredibly high standards for that. Like when I think I'm being impatient, probably no one has noticed anything, but I can feel it coming up. And then I know I need to ground myself and I
Right.
need some me time,
Exactly.
and I just need to stand in the pasture and do freedom-based training with my mule, or do my yin yoga online class in the
Exactly.
evenings, and I
Yep.
come out
I
of
do my qigong, 5 minutes of moving this slowly, and your entire system is like,
yeah.
hallelujah,
So
right?
you can't always go on a 1.5 hour trail ride, but you have to have other things in your life that can kind
Right.
of bring you back to yourself and
Well,
ground
there is
you.
some really, really cool research that is coming out now around the vagus nerve that's
Yeah,
around the heart, and
yeah,
the fact that if you actually calm the nav or stimulate the vagus nerve, it will reduce its heartbeat and all of this. So there are now strategies that are actually much faster. Like a
yeah,
trail ride, it's like a walk. I'm gonna try before it gets dark, to go for a walk. It'll take half an hour before I settle.
yes,
Same with the trail ride. Bup, 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 and then, then it gets
it's
quieter. But
yeah.
there are definite techniques, breathing and many others, that are telling the body much quicker that it can come down and slow down.
Haven't you found that just doing it by yourself is already a big advantage? And I mean, I just if I go with someone else and I can chat, then I may chat the whole way and never settle. But if I go by myself, then I will notice things around me and feel and see
Yeah,
and smell.
yeah. And I
You know.
tend to like want to take a podcast, and I really find myself now more aware, like, is this the good time for a podcast, or is this a good time to just look at my dog and,
Yeah,
take in the nature? It's the
yeah,
same walk, same
yeah,
physical benefit, but it's really about regulating. the parasympathetic and the
Yeah.
sympathetic, and that's an art that most of us, I think, really have lost or feel like we can't live out. So at your place, they get permission to live it out, and
Yes.
I think it would be nice to for them to take it home.
Yeah, indeed. Maybe that's the next frontier. Yes.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. Gives you a great excuse to come to your gorgeous place. Okay, so to finish up, I know mainly your clients are of German descent or come
Mm,
from Germany, right? But we've been speaking the whole time in English, and I can't imagine that if somebody English speaking listens to this, doesn't want to come see you. Is it okay if they knock on your door at or the,
absolutely. I think it's actually gone down to about 50-50 now.
oh, okay, okay, good.
I have of like the whole last year. I think there was one course that was purely German speakers, and I actually taught in German. Other,
Oh, my assumption was wrong. Okay.
yeah, I think maybe it's also changed since we did the coaching
Okay, yeah,
session.
okay.
What is happening is that as soon as one non-German speaker is in the group, the whole course obviously happens in English. And I warn the Germans that this will happen because they think they're coming to fellow German and we can just do everything in German, and we will not, because there will be volunteers and my horse trainer Lisette, and we need to they need to be able to speak English and be okay with that.
Perfect.
So
Well,
we
then I want to
yeah.
just say, guys, hop over to Sundance
Ranch.
Ranch Portugal.com,
Yes.
but book for 2027.
Exactly. I'm very sorry. I almost feel bad now that it's so booked up. I mean, it's wonderful for me,
You
for
need to
my
create your franchises.
I just need to clone myself and teach more.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of my clients are thinking about how to do this, how to create some virtual experience. I know that never replaces, of course, the real, but something because there are just not enough spaces like yours in the world. And yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the thing that I might actually be able to do is take more than four guests at a time, because you haven't met her yet, but I have another girl that's now living with us full time here. She's one of the volunteers that kept coming back, so she's
yeah.
been coming back for 5 years now, I think. And she's decided to take at least 1 year off and stay with us. And she's doing very well and also helping me to teach. So
Okay, so
I'm
there's maybe a chance for some of the listeners.
exactly. So I might open.
SundanceRanchPortugal.com.
I won't be able to teach more courses, but I may be able to offer more spaces in the courses that I teach.
Mm.
So we're going to see about that, if that is possible.
And it's just to finish up my own experience and what I gathered from how you do it is just so beautiful that if somebody just wants to sit with the horses and get their meditative juice, they can do that. If they
Mhm.
want to learn about saddles and riding and all of that, they can do that and anything in between, right? And they have complete freedom to do one or the other or
Yeah, if anything, then make everyone sit around and be with the horses in the field. I slow things way down, there's
Oh,
not there's and that's why it's also
okay, now we
nice.
got your secret sauce. That's what it is.
Yeah, I really slow it down. It's true. That
And
makes a difference.
we here in winter, so our facility does these trail rides, and in winter we don't do as many, but we do torch rides. So he
Ah,
starts at 3 in the afternoon. Wait, sun goes down pretty quick here in Germany in winter. And then we stop, and there's his wife has the hot wine, and everybody gets a cup and they drink a hot wine, stand around, warm their back, warm their front. The horses are tied up to the trees, and then they climb on and they get a torch,
nice.
like a real fire one.
Yeah.
And then he says, and now we are in church. There is no talking.
Ooh.
And we ride home, and it can't be that long because these torches don't last all that long.
Okay.
And we ride home and nobody says a word.
Yeah.
And it's dark. And it's this very familiar trail that I've been on 100 times, but it looks
Yeah.
really different when it's dark. And then every second person on the average has a torch, and you just see the flickering, and it's so quiet, and you just hear,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. Tears are just running down my face. The
Wonderful.
release of that much true silence
Yeah.
is really amazing. And then when we get there, there's raclette and fondue and all kind of stuff, and then everybody chats again.
Sounds great. Yummy.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
It would
So,
have been the same experience here when we do full moon
oh,
rides.
okay, yeah,
So it's also I mean, they don't always work out with the courses because it really has to be a
full
full
moon.
moon. There can't be any clouds, and but everyone always gets really quiet. It's just a very interesting phenomenon. But you can also get really quiet in other ways just
Of
by
course, it's
trying
just
to.
because we're not used to it. We need little triggers, like the fact that he has to say we're going to be quiet, you know. And I asked him, and he's like, "Nah, otherwise the ladies they just keep on chatting," right? But once we experience it and we notice how our heart rate goes down and how our whole system settles, then
Yeah,
I think with time we find, hopefully that's really my passion, is that we find an awareness. Like you said, like, is it time for me now to step back a little bit? Is it time for me to mingle? A lot of people, for example, they work out really hard through stress,
yeah,
but hard workout stresses you out even more.
yeah. Yeah, the thing that I find most similar to that in our courses is at the beginning, the very beginning, the first morning and the last afternoon, we do this exercise where you basically try and be in harmony with the horse, and then the horse is free. The horse is free on their pasture in their herd, so they can do whatever you want, and all the human has to do is try and be just like the horse. So having standing parallel and moving your feet exactly as the horse moves the feet, looking where the horse looks, trying to breathe like the horse breathes, and all of it as much as you can. And it always settles people. It always brings you back to yourself. And at the first morning, it's really great because people are nervous and they're excited,
Hmm.
slows them down. But the last afternoon, when they're already feeling good about everything and they've had this beautiful week, then they really get deeply into it, and then I think it's really
And then the
amazing.
horses tend to suck you right into
Yeah.
this meditative vortex, you know? This is a great ending because this starts at the beginning. It gets us to the beginning. This is how I tamed Tali. I
Yeah.
adopted her as a wild horse. Ground froze over. Any kind of forceful interaction was impossible. And she was so, she's so gentle. She was so frightened. And so
No.
that's what I did. I just imitated her. I
Yeah.
entered her world before I asked her to enter mine. And what a
Yeah.
life lesson that was.
Oh, that must have been beautiful. I wish I'd known her back then.
Ooh, she was spicy. Uh,
She was also younger. Now she's a
so reactive. Well, because she was small and not the most desirable Mustang, she's been there a long time. So she had a lot of Wrangler experience, so negative experience.
yeah.
But she just demanded that I step into her world before she was gonna go and step into mine.
But that's
Once,
really good because that makes you step out of your busy brain, and right? You can't keep thinking all those thoughts in your brain if you
oh,
just.
she would sense every
Yeah.
thought. Our
Yeah.
house was on top, she was on the bottom. And if I had any plan coming down the driveway, she was gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
I have
Gone.
one of my horses. As soon as my mind goes distracted, she goes by the side of the road and starts grazing. She's like, "Oh, Sandra's gone. I might as well take a break too."
Do you know what, Sandra? I have this really great idea as we build up this soul-soothing business circle. We're gonna get a handful of women and come visit you.
That would be great.
That would be absolutely amazing. Get to see my little girl again. But yeah, that and this morning I ended up matching steps with my horses,
Hmm.
and
That's
I got
part of
slower and slower and slower. I mean, there's nothing like it to regulate your system. Do you need a horse for it? No. It's
it.
just we have the motivation.
Yeah, it's just it's just so much fun if you can do it with a horse, right?
Well, it's relational versus, obviously I can put my cereal in the microwave in the same slow speed, but somehow not quitting quite the feedback.
That is fun.
Well, my dear, we could be talking about this forever. I
Yeah,
can totally see that in the future.
yeah,
We'll talk about nervous systems and how to equip women better once they return from a magical place like yours. And then we'll go
yeah.
bring some women to you. That'd be really
That
great.
would be so cool. I
Okay,
think we
so
could.
how everybody can find about you. So tell them again what the website is and
Well, very easy. It's just Sundance Ranch, Portugal, and if
.com.
you put that, .com. But if you just put those words in Google,
Okay,
you will find it.
perfect. And if they don't see any more spots available, can they email you?
Yes, of course they can. I will consider opening up for more people. Oh, I promise.
Okay, perfect. Well, my heart is full. It was very relational to spend time with you. Not that we haven't done this before, but in this format, felt
Yeah,
really great to extract
right.
so
You can,
many pieces.
yeah, and you can find out new things about each other that you just don't, we talked about things we haven't talked about before. It was great fun.
It was really good. And I'm always thinking about how, you know, what is relevant to two of us, how can it be relevant to 1,000 listeners? And I think looking at becoming unique and especially like you really listening to your values
Yeah.
and then like you said, not pleasing everybody,
Yeah. Not
target
trying
that.
to be everything for everyone. That was so important. Uh,
And these people are like you're the avatar, so to
yeah.
say. And then now you attract people that you can resonate with and that enrich your life. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
just giving, correct?
Oh, correct. I love my clients. I mean, I love my guests. I learn from them all the time and I love having them. It's great.
And then the reality that if you become a category of one, you have to figure out
Yeah.
how to keep them connected. So you do it with the monthly webinar, offering activities that allow them to come back and experience something new. And really, all the numbers that I was just kind of hearing between the lines, you don't have a huge community, and yet you're
No.
booked.
Yes.
And I think that's really the last lesson is you don't need a huge number of clients.
No, I mean, it depends what you want to do, right? If you want to have 1,400 lessons a month, maybe you have to do something differently, but I don't. I'd rather have a few and do it really well and really deeply.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, it won't be the last time, and it won't be the last time I'll hug you. So
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go for today and hopefully recover well and fast from the last little piece of
Well,
your cold. It got
going out
better
to feed,
between the two of us as we were talking.
I'm going out to feed horses now, none of this being sick.
Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye, Sandra.